What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Trophy Chasers Podcast, episode 11. Joined here with DMC123. Fortunately, Mike Guy 2421 not able to join us again today. I guess he has some issues he had to take care of, so the show will go on.
Yes.
How you doing, DMC?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I got the burden of the world off my back, man. I've completed Dark Souls 2. I feel like I have the world in front of me, and there's nothing but fresh air and daisy flowers everywhere, man. So I'm doing pretty good, man. I don't even want to see Dark Souls or play a touch of that for the next few years, man. I'm
Nice.
pretty happy about it.
I'm glad you got that weight lifted off your shoulders. Did you enjoy
Yes.
it, though?
You know what? I enjoyed the heck out of the first one, the first playthrough. The game requires you to run through it 2.5 times to get the plat.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very forgiving where you have these Estus flasks where you can reset your current bonfire zone at a higher difficulty. It still requires you to run through the game 2.5 times. And I'm sorry, a game like that's I mean, there's speed runs out there that go for 6.5 hours taking to you know, I don't know, man. It's just too much tension. So yes, I thoroughly enjoyed being a beast on my second playthrough. But after that got finished,
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't have it in me, man. It was just a pain to go back through it and get those last couple items that I needed for the platinum.
What were the last things you needed?
It
Like
was
spells or something?
it was spells, yeah. So I needed basically two miracles, one and one giant fireball thing that you get from the chancellor, the invisible ghost guy in this large castle.
Right.
Unfortunately, you can't get to him unless you beat four of the major bosses, um, and so it's an unnecessary hoop that I think the developers should have never did. If you're going to go through it twice, don't make me go through it a third time. I get second time, right?
Right.
Not third. Makes me very upset about that.
Yeah. So you're never going to play it again?
Oh, not Dark Souls 2. And if Dark Souls 3 was coming out in 6 months, absolutely not. But you know, I have a funny feeling that in 2 years, I'll be all ready to go again. We'll see.
Yeah. Still then you get it back into that and finish it up. No, you make me not want to, though. But
There's something special. It's so deep, you know. And I was running through the game as a sorcerer, and I had certain spells that I ran with, and I just one hit in New Game Plus. I was one hitting people, just running around, just hitting them once. I felt uber across the board. But I would occasionally come across people that I summoned to help,
mm-hmm.
and these people are freaking godlike. There's this one little person was dressed in this very scantily clad outfit, like a jester, and he had a dagger that he was holding with two hands. The dagger was this big. Um, Come across a normal guy that it would take me 5 or 6 hits with my great sword to kill. He would just walk directly in front of them and just squish them with the dagger, and they're dead. And I'm like, what the heck? I want that, man. I mean, so there's so many different builds. There's so many different ways to play. It's incredible, intriguing. I had a ball my second playthrough, but all of that happiness and joy just went away when I realized, okay, I got to do this again halfway, you know. But yeah, I think you can still have fun. Flip. Matter of fact, if I can just get you to summon people, man, I might have to just keep my build available for you. We'll see.
All right. Well, with me, I've been sick for the past week, so haven't been doing too well. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. So my streaming schedule's been a little off lately. Been slowly picking away at The Witch and the 100 Nights. Almost finished up with that. I finished the first ending, so I just have to get through the second and the third ending. The way they have it set up, it's like progressive endings. You do at the end of the 11th chapter, you have to end it a certain way, and you get one of the endings. And then if you reload your save, you can go back and make a different option and continue the game, get the second ending, and then go back again and alter things just a little bit more, and that's how you get the third ending. So I just had the last two endings. I spent the past like spent like 12 hours last night playing that game, and it's still not finished. I thought for sure I would have it done by the time we did the show today, but very close. Probably have like 2 or 3 hours left.
Is your little 100 night just crazy, just dynamo that's just knock out everybody as he goes through?
He's gotten a lot stronger.
He's a lot stronger.
Got the 4-digit numbers when I'm attacking now, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he still super cute, running with his hands behind his back?
Yeah.
Doing the ninja run?
Doing the ninja run, yep. The weapons get pretty cool looking near the end of the game. Very, very strong. The game, like I said, when I first started, people were saying the game was really hard, and a lot of people came to my stream and were watching and saying that I was doing a lot better than other people that they've seen stream. And I had a little bit of trouble at the beginning of the game getting used to the combat and how all the different resource management functions worked out. Once I got the hang of that, it was pretty smooth sailing until about halfway through the game. Then there was this really, really hard boss fight. And then the game got easy again for a little while, and then it got insanely hard, and now I'm to the point where I die in like a hit. Sometimes 2, if I'm lucky.
All right, so to clarify then, your comparison of the arcadey Dark Souls is...
It's very similar to
absolutely
Dark Souls from what I played.
The one that's how I've been living. I think I died playing Dark Souls. I died maybe 8 times in my second playthrough because I was extra careful, and I knew what was happening. But literally, 1 hits. Mm-hmm. At that level, it's you get hit 1 time, it's over. So I can appreciate that, man. Wow.
I think you'd really like this. If you like Dark Souls, I think you'd really get a kick out of this, because you like the JRPGs and you like the insane difficulty that comes with Dark Souls. The combat's set up very similar. You have the stamina bar. Each time you attack, your stamina drains. Whenever you dodge, it takes a chunk of your stamina away, and it's just watching enemy patterns, learning what they can do, jumping in at the right time, doing a quick attack, and getting out. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, it's really similar to Dark Souls. All the bosses are set up pretty similar too. Yeah, I liked it a lot. But
cool,
like I said, it got hard.
The game. How did you like the ending? The NIS games always have funky, crazy endings. How did you like the ending?
Well, the ending I saw was pretty terrible, but I think it was supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah. The way they have it set up, the first ending you get is the normal ending, and then you get the true ending, and then you get the bad ending. You play as the antagonist in this game, so I guess the bad ending is the one that is going to be the most exciting, probably.
Okay.
So yeah. This game is actually so hard that recently they added a patch in the game. There's an NPC that they added. You go talk to the NPC, and you can enable casual mode, which I think a lot of people have done, because when I was reading on the forums, people are saying the game was a really easy platinum and you could just fly through it, and I'm pretty sure all these people played on the casual mode. And I tried it out for a little bit, just for one boss fight, just to see what it was like, see how easy this casual mode was. Like I said, when I was playing normal, I got to the point where I was dying in like 1 hit. The bosses, each time I'd attack the boss, it would take like a sliver of their life away, and yeah, just barely anything. And then I put it on casual mode just to check it out. Played the next chapter up to the next boss. When I got to the boss fight, you have these different spells that you can cast, and one of them drops like 2 like defensive towers. They work as decoys, and they also shoot magic homing projectiles. I set 2 of those down, and they usually last about 20-25 seconds, and then if the boss attacks it, it goes down a lot faster. I set 2 of those down, and those kill the boss in the duration that they lasted, while the boss is actively attacking them. So it was a joke. So yeah.
And they
So I quickly went and turned that back off, put it back on normal mode, and made the game a little more enjoyable. There's also another function. You have this. You go talk to the main character in the game, the witch that is guiding you throughout the game, and you can talk to her and spend one of your currencies in order to make the enemies weaker. You can, from the base difficulty level, you can make him weaker once, or you can make him stronger 5 times. And each time you make them stronger, it increases their level by 3 points, and then they have more health and stuff. So right now I'm playing on normal mode with all 5 of those strength modifiers up. So it's pretty tough, but I'm leveling up really fast, so it's fun. I'm having a good time.
So there's the quid pro quo, right? You make it more difficult, but you get rewarded for it, right?
Right.
Okay, well, I like that. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I'm not all for making it difficult for the sake of being difficult.
Yeah.
One thing I like about, and it brings me back to Dark Souls, is they do have a cap. The difficulty jump from base game to new game plus is pretty steep, right? It's a 50% on things. They're stronger, you're weaker, and then after that, it's just progressively like I think like 3 or 4%. So if you can get through new game plus, you can keep on going. And there's some stages where I farming souls, I must have reset the bonfire 25 times because I can just go in there and just crush the boss by myself. So, yeah, man, I like that, man, and I do appreciate that grind where they give you little outs like that.
Yeah.
You want to level up, make it difficult, you get rewarded. Awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like one of the best ways to level up if you're struggling is to go increase the enemy levels and then go to some of the previous levels and just grind out there for a little while. The only complaint I have about the game is they have this weird energy system. They call it gigacals.
Gigacals.
Yeah. You have like a timer in the corner that slowly ticks down. It starts at 99 and it goes down to 0. When it hits 0, your character loses like 30% of his attack and defense and slowly drains his health.
Gee whiz.
And the way it goes, each time your stamina recharges, it takes a chunk of the gigacals away. As you're uncovering parts of the map, it rapidly lowers the gigacals. You can increase it, make the number go back up. There's certain items you can eat, cookies and rolls, I think is what it is. They give that increase that currency or that resource just a little bit, and then when you're fighting enemies, you can also eat the enemy, and that'll increase it. It's just it's pointless though. It doesn't make sense because if you run out, you can go to one of the checkpoints in the level, just warp out of the level and jump back in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's frustrating because you're trying to explore the entire map because you have to find all the different checkpoints. They're called pillars in this game. You have to find all of the different checkpoints in each map, and as you're exploring, you have this resource that's constantly draining. That just seems pointless. That's the only thing I don't like about the game. Is it kind of like Lightning Returns, how you have that time management thing you have to deal with, and it's just unnecessary.
Extra component that just takes away your joy.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, hey, you mastered it though, man. I guess you're so close. I'm really interested to hear about the second and the third endings and how they differ.
Yeah.
If it's just going to be more clarity to the ending, or if they're really alternative endings.
Yeah. There's also a little bit you have to do in New Game Plus. At the very beginning, there's an optional fight. It's one of those fights where RPGs used to do this a lot in the back in the day, where you fought this really hard boss at the beginning, and it's a fight you're supposed to lose. This game has that, and then if you go into New Game Plus, you actually stand a chance, and you're able to fight the boss and kill it, and that's one of the trophies as well. So you have to do that also.
Yeah. All right. I'm finished talking about Dark Souls, but Demon Souls did that when you first introduced as your character, you walk into this big giant room, and there's this big giant overweight Tyrannosaurus demon monster. And he just hits you with a club, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. So that's how the game starts. You die. So that's but yeah, but it's so awesome to be able to go back and take it to him. I think in Demon Souls, in your New Game Plus, you can actually kill that guy. So I like that concept. That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I remember back in the old school RPGs, I used to always try really, really, really hard to fight those bosses that you're supposed to die at.
Yeah, if there's a chance. There's a chance. Did you ever win? Did you ever beat it?
A couple times, yeah. Awesome. I think it was Lufia 2. I did it in there for the Super Nintendo.
Huh. That's cool.
Yep. But anyway, if you're looking for a good RPG, I'd definitely recommend The Witch and the Hundred Knight. The trophies are pretty straightforward. Most of them are just for completing the game. Then there's like one small collectible trophy, which is just finding all the checkpoints. Nothing's missable as long as you make a save point in Chapter 11.
Okay.
Like just split your save into 2 at that point. But
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's about 50 hours long though, so. And I guess it can be it could be very difficult, but you can make it easier. So it could be a very easy platinum, just time consuming. And the stories, it started off slow, Then about halfway through the game, where I said that really hard boss fight was, that was like the climax of the story. And then it drops really low where I just didn't care and started skipping cutscenes because you find this like fairy. I guess they call her a fairy, but she gets offended when you call her a fairy. She has like a human head, and she it almost looks like she's wearing a bug outfit, but she is like a half bug, half fairy, part human. I don't know what's going on, but you had to like make her fall in love with a prince or something. I don't know. And at the end you fight her and kill her. So I don't know what happened during that, but it was like I said, each cutscene's like 35 to 40 minutes long, and I just lost interest and didn't care. So just skipped all the story in that, and after that it started to pick up again. So.
All right, well, there's a story in there. I might, gosh, dog it. So if I watch the cutscenes, it might be 70 hours, man. Gee whiz.
No, it's 50 hours is worth the cutscenes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's pretty much. I want to get into Ragnarok Odyssey Ace. I was really looking forward to that, but I'll be starting that after I finish The Witch and the 100 Night. We also got Mercenary Kings came out for the PS4, part of the April PlayStation Plus list. This week we got Mercenary Kings and Batman Arkham City. And then throughout the month we'll get Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion, Stealth Inc. on the PS3, and the Vita will give us Pixel Junk Monsters HD and Velocity Ultra. All of those are very good games. Stealth Inc. is very, very fun, just pretty hard to come up with the puzzles. Mickey Mouse is... That was an old Genesis game that they remastered, and they went from like this 2D side-scrolling to this 3D side... I don't know, if you played the old game and then you play this one, if you remember the old one, it's like mind-blowing how much the graphics have changed. It looks really good. It's a really, really, really quick completion. Actually enjoyed it quite a bit if you like platformers. So anyway, Mercenary Kings is what I want to talk about. Did you play that at all?
Haven't played that at all, but that's on my to-do list, man.
Is it?
I'm free. I just got divorced from Dark Souls. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So what's up with Mercenary Kings? I saw that you were streaming that.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it, a couple hours. We might have to do some co-op in it. I played for, like I said, 2 or 3 hours and got 1 trophy. So it's pretty backloaded. There's not a lot of easy trophies here at the beginning. But it's kind of like Metal Slug meets Borderlands.
Okay.
You start off, you just have a pistol. And as you're progressing through the levels, each enemy, or not each enemy, but occasionally enemies will drop loot, and they're just various parts, like sometimes it's leather, various metal types, glass shards, stuff like that, and you use those items to build components to add to your pistol to modify it, and eventually you can start making these pretty huge epic guns that just annihilate everything.
That sounds fun, man.
Yeah, each level is probably 15 minutes long or so, but a lot of them are like run around the map and find collectibles, and the map is set up, I don't know, maybe I just need to get used to it more, but I didn't like the map portion of it. It's a lot. If it was just like what I expected was side-scrolling levels where you just start at point A, try to get to point B, usually probably a boss at the end, and then the enemies are kind of like Mega Man. I thought it was going to be set up like Mega Man, and it's not. And it's a lot of like going back to the same levels you've already been to and trying to navigate this map and try to just uncover all the different collectibles. And I don't know, like one of them's like find 10 pieces of leather or find 10 diamonds or something. So you have to go find all these different treasure chests throughout the different portions. The way they set up the map, it's hard to explain without showing you an example of it, but you really have to pay attention to where you are on the map and make sure you scavenge every single corner of the map. So it is pretty hard to get started, but once you get the hang of it, once you get back into the retro side-scrolling Metal Slug mindset, then it becomes a little more manageable.
Do you know if difficulty ramps up when you have when you're co-oping?
I don't know.
All right, well, hey man, I'm down.
Yeah, we'll have to do some co-op sometime.
Yep.
Should be fun. For the most part, I think the trophies are pretty straightforward. There's just one that I think will be a little difficult. You have to beat the fastest time in each level. Some of those, I was like 10 minutes past the fastest time, so.
10 minutes. Yeah. Well, look, that's the biggest turnoff for me, man. I am not that guy, man. It is very difficult for me to beat those times. Man, shoot, Rayman scared me. So, and if you were 10 minutes behind, my goodness, man.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just familiar, or maybe you can go back once you get uber strong and some crazy massive guns and
That's what I'm thinking. I
yeah.
think it probably requires a second playthrough after you get like the best gun loadout or something.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think doesn't Ragnarok Odyssey also has I believe a co-op or maybe a co-op in some of the missions that you can a component, and I think it's actually trophy.
Hmm.
Um, but it's coming out for the PS3 and the Vita. That's interesting. Now, you said you were going to get it. What are you looking at? Vita or
Probably the
PS3?
PS3.
PS3? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But what's incredibly impressive though on this list is that Batman Arkham City comes out for the PS Plus, man. That's got to be freaking humongous.
Yeah. Who was it? Someone in the chat. I can't see it anymore. Oh, there it is, Cody. Cody saying it's a great gift for everyone who suffered through Arkham Origins. Yeah. So if you played Arkham Origins and have a sour taste in your mouth after that one, play Arkham City. It's a million times better. So good. Mm-hmm.
It's mouthwash for the healthy.
Yep. It's a pretty good game. I liked it a lot. Great story. Lots of fun. Open world Batman game. And it'll get ready for the sequel, Arkham Knight, that comes out in October. So, yep.
October, so close.
Yep. The other new releases we had this week were MLB The Show 14, which has a upgrade program through GameStop. If you purchase it for the PS3, you could trade it in for $40 towards the PlayStation 4 version and basically it's basically a $20 upgrade from PS3 to PS4. So that's an option if you're interested in that. I'm not probably ever going to play this. Like I've always said, I don't really like sports games at all, so probably not going to play it. But I hear it's an easy platinum.
You know what? Most of those sports games are. You know, it was. You know, I think they eventually got it. The developers eventually got it. You know, back in the day, early 2000s with boxing games, they required that you were the number one online fighter in all the world in order for you to get a trophy. And so the only people who had platinums are essentially this group of people that were so good that they knocked out everybody else, and then they took turns knocking out each other. It was horrible. So they did that about 2 years in a row, and then they got smart and they said, okay, you know what? That sucks. Let's just have them win a tournament, and it could be a sub tournament. So anyway, so now everything's just crazy easy across the board. I remember one time the last sports game I played was Madden, I think 2012, and I platinumed that probably in about maybe 12, 15 hours. Really easy. I just won the Super Bowl. And I had to do a couple moves with certain players. I had to run a punt return back a couple times, and yeah, so yeah, but I just don't have any interest.
Yeah.
But I heard it's real pretty though. Real pretty.
Yeah, it looked good. Also on the digital front, we have Mercenary Kings on the PS4, which we talked about, and King Oddball, which I have no idea what that is. I was planning on checking that out, but with me getting sick, I was not able to do that.
When I saw that, the only thing that came to my mind was a pinball machine. So hopefully it's not that.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. And then Killzone Shadowfall finally got some DLC, the first multiplayer DLC. It's called the Insurgent Pack for $9.99 or free with the season pass. Introduces the new class, the Insurgent, with 2 new abilities. You can steal and hack. If you get a kill, you can steal their weapon and also their abilities. So it's kind of a way to cycle through all the different abilities through one game. And they could also hack the enemy turrets, I think. I haven't played enough of Killzone multiplayer to understand what that means, but I think that's what they can do. I think each base is guarded by turrets to keep the other team from going in there, and you can hack that so it kills them. I think that sounds a little too overpowered, so I don't know if that's correct, but that's what I think's going on. They also added a elite campaign mode, which seems to be a popular thing people are doing now. Yeah, reminds me of the hard mode that they're adding on Last of Us. It's similar to that.
I gotta go back and check it out, man. You know, Guerrilla is so good at supporting their product post-release. I mean, they just dump a whole bunch of content on you. They do this for every freaking game they come out with. So, but yeah, Elite mode. The only reason why I haven't jumped back into that game, and I beat it when it first came out, is because how heavy their multiplayer trophy layout was. I mean, the only way the only way you get through that thing is through boosting, and it'll take about 2 or 3 weeks of just
Mm-hmm.
boosting with 3 people.
I've heard it's like 100 hours of multiplayer.
Yeah, well, yeah, and so it's a solid, literally a solid 20 25 hours of just boosting to get
Right.
it early. So you save yourself 80 hours, right? But it, at the end of the day, I always go back to The Last of Us. What a fun multiplayer. It took 2 weeks to get through everything, but it was through natural progression. And they didn't shove it down my throat and made it a prerequisite for the play. Make your multiplayer fun. Don't burden me. And
Right.
I'll play it if I like it. Tomb Raider forced it down your freaking throat, and by the time you got finished with it, you hated the multiplayer.
You didn't have to
So
get finished with it to hate it. I hated it after the first match.
you're right. So I hated it about a quarter of through it, but at some point, developers need to get it that platinum trophies should not be made a requirement to make folks hold on to their game, because folks just simply won't buy it, or they'll just get tired of it and give it away free. You have to find that sweet spot. Yeah, you don't want to give it away in the first 7 hours, right? But don't make it so difficult for the sake of it, for the sake of them just holding onto the game that much longer, so they don't trade it in early. And I think what Tomb Raider did, what Killzone is doing, um, it has a little tinge of that. That, hey, if you want the plat, you're going to have to hold on to this game, buddy.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. The elite campaign mode in Killzone is the hardest difficulty, which they already have in the game, but you only have 3 lives.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? They got to give me a gold trophy for that. Nah, I'm not playing that crap unless there's something associated with it.
Yeah, there's a trophy attached to it. Yeah. The trophies are pretty like the multiplayer trophies for the new class are very similar to the multiplayer trophies for the previous classes. Then you have to do this elite campaign mode, and then now there's multiplayer collectibles, which going back to The Last of Us reminds me of the salvage parts that you have to go around and find.
Sure.
Yeah. So whenever you kill somebody, I think you can go up to them, and there might be a chance that they drop a collectible. I don't know, but you have to find 25 of them for the trophy. But that's the Insurgent pack. Faithy's saying that King Oddball is kind of like an Angry Birds clone. So I guess I won't be checking that one out.
What?
I'm going to stay away from that.
I will be checking that one out.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, this past week, I played a little bit of WildStar, the new MMO that's coming out in June. It's really good. I made the mistake of getting into that.
PC?
Yeah, PC. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It's everything I've ever wanted in an MMO. We got into the beta, played that last weekend. Next beta weekend starts tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. After last weekend, Monday hit, and they closed the beta, and that was all I wanted to play. So everything else just seemed like it bore to me.
Well, that's awesome.
It's really good. I like it a lot. So looking forward to that. Wish that one came to the PS3. Instead, we got this, or PS4. Instead, we got this Elder Scrolls Online, which just launched. Actually, launches tomorrow. But the early access started 4 days ago, I think, on the 31st, something like that. I don't know. But that came out. I played it in the beta and wasn't a huge fan of it. You have Elder Scrolls, like everything that makes an Elder Scrolls game what it is, that has like certain elements that attract its fan base to it. And then you have everything in an MMO, and they're two different beasts, and they try to combine them, and to me, it didn't work. Because in Elder Scrolls, you run around, and you have all these different options, all these different places you can go. You can go there at any level. You run around, you randomly find these little mysterious dungeons, you go in there. Yeah. With
some ancient dead sorcerer that you shouldn't have, and you say, how the heck do I get out of here real quick?
Right. When you add the MMO elements to it, each one of those little dungeons all have like level requirements, and it just doesn't have the same feel that Elder Scrolls has.
So it's not open. It's more of a closed, I'm sorry, but you're not good enough to come in here yet.
Right. Each area has its own like level range. So you have to go from here, like zone 1 to zone 2 to zone 3. It takes away a lot of Elder Scrolls to implement the MMO portion of the game, but then it takes away a lot of MMO stuff in order to make it Elder Scrolls, and it just, to me, doesn't work. I think it's been great for PvP, but not really a PvE game as far as what I'm looking for in an MMO.
is PvP's really that? Gosh, dog it, man. I'm just I don't want to play an MMO for PvP,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I just I don't I'm not that person, but I do. And if folks remember, the first time I really played an MMO game is when I played the demo for Final Fantasy 14, and and I asked the question: Is this what I do? Just multiple quests. Go get this. Go talk to this person all day long, and occasionally I'll get with joined up with a whole bunch of people, and we'll have a world event and kill some crazy monster. And I think you explained it to me, Flip, that that's pretty much what it is. But it's the little small tweaks of that that make it fun or engaging, right? It's the liveliness of the world, you
Well,
know.
well, this is the leveling up process. The most people who play MMOs consider the end game to be the meat of an MMO. Like once you hit that level cap and you jump in with your, I think in Final Fantasy 14 it's 20 people. Your 20-man group. You go into this. They call them raids. It's like just like a big dungeon and with like really really hard bosses that you need 20 people to kill. You go in there and each boss you have to figure out what they do and how to counteract it. And each boss fight's almost like a puzzle where
Mhm.
everybody has to just be playing on their A game, and just the coordination between all 20 people has to be really strong in order to overcome this boss. That's really that's what I enjoy out of an MMO.
Okay.
But the leveling process is always a grind. It's I think Final Fantasy 14 has the most tedious leveling process out of all the MMOs I've ever played, and I've played
Okay.
most of them. There's I didn't like the way Final Fantasy 14 set up their leveling. I think they might have made it a little more streamlined, where you actually have quests that last all the way to the level cap, but it was just slow and tedious and lots of, like you said, lots of world events. You just had to grind out for
Yeah.
hours.
It is the most populated area in the world. This one little hub in Final Fantasy, and that's all I could think about. There's so many people here. Where's all the porta potties? I didn't know if that's how other MMOs are. Are they just these hubs where hundreds and hundreds of people are just running around?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, I'm ready, man. I'm down. Just not for Elder Scrolls, but you know, Destiny. I'm hook, line, and sinker. I'm swallowing all of that, man. And I'm
Yeah, I don't think
this is a
Destiny's gonna be the same though. I think
horrible
Destiny's gonna be
analogy.
more like Defiance if you played that.
You know, for 9.99, I probably should play Defiance, but
You probably shouldn't. It's not great.
oh no, don't say that. So yeah, so we'll see. Maybe that won't be my experience, but Destiny will be my first MMO.
Well, I'll be there playing it with you.
Awesome.
So that is pretty much everything I've been playing this week. Did you play anything else?
Ha!
Anything else? You're
No
laughing.
man, my world was consumed by the darkness. No, it's I'm so free that
Yeah.
I plan to play everything. I'm gonna pull a flip trick. You are now a verb, man. Is a verb or yeah, I'm gonna play 4 or 5 different games and not complete them. Just just I want to absorb. I just want to absorb as many games as possible, man, because I just felt like I just been consumed, man.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but I did fit in.
You rushing into that Hannah Montana you said you were gonna get into?
No, I'm not. I'm still saving that. I'm still saving that for after Metal Gear. I thought I was, man, but I'm so disgusted with
I'm excited for you to play Hannah Montana. You're gonna learn the hoedown throwdown.
All right. But I will. You know what? I'm still saving that for after Metal Gear Solid,
Hmm.
Sons of Liberty. So I just didn't feel it was right after I beat Dark Souls. I got to play something happy though, not happy Hannah Montana happy.
Yeah. You could play it with your daughter and have her teach you how to pop it, lock it, and polka dot it.
I don't want her to pop it lock and pop it. That sounds horrible. Oh boy, we'll see. It's coming though. I'm gonna get it. I'm ready. It's not right now. So so 2 things, right? So obviously I you got the plat in Second Son. Um, uh, the uh, the most disappointing to the stupidest of all stupid levels, bad ending ever. Um, I'll just leave it at that. So and also I platinumed
Looks like you got 3 platinums in there.
Yeah, it's Rise of the Guardians.
Oh, you played that?
Yeah, man. So that was a I think I started that game almost a month ago, and I just probably had about 3 or 4 hours left into it,
Yeah.
and so I just knocked it out in that little break after Second Son before I jumped back into Dark Souls. So it was a little bit of a reprieve. Yeah. So yeah. So
There was 3 platinums there. What was the third one?
oh, um, Dark Souls 2
What was Dark Souls, Rise of the Guardians, and what else?
and Second Son.
Oh, okay. So it was okay. Got it. It's 49 trophies, 3 platinums. It's a pretty big jump. Where's the percentage? I'm trying to change. I'm gonna next week we'll have the 2 PSN profile cards, so that's why they're different. Because I don't really like the screenshot of the PlayStation app. I don't like it. The PSN card shows a lot more information, and then it takes up less space and shows more information. So I'm gonna start using those from this point forward.
It's awesome, man. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna make mine a permanent profile background, and it's gonna be I can't say it's gonna be CSI. I have to wait for Mike to come back for that, man. But once I play Hannah Montana, it's gonna be Hannah Montana all day long. Folks will
You're talking about the background image on the where it shows Dark Souls. Yeah, I set mine up. I'll show you that in just a second. But you went up 22%. So you're almost level 23. You got to hit that. You got to get up. You got to catch up. Last week I was 8% into 23. 53 platinums. 4,177 trophies. This week, trying to learn where all the numbers are. 4,190 trophies, so only 23. Not a huge jump, like I said. I haven't played a whole lot. Last week I was playing Wildstar, and then the Witch and the 100 Knights is just dragging on forever. That went up 2% of a level, and 23 trophies. So pretty slow. Pretty slow week for me.
Hey man, it's the reward of Witch and 100 Knights.
Just wait till next week. I'm gonna blow your mind. Like I said, I'm getting level 25 by the end of April.
You blew my mind last week, man.
Last week was a good week, yeah. And my guy, I don't know what he has been up to. I haven't talked to him in a while, but last week he was level 17, 50%, 14 platinums, 2,883 trophies. Now he is sitting at 2,889 trophies, so he hasn't played a lot. Just got 6 trophies in there. So pretty slow week for all of us. Wow.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. But I think you have the excuse. At least you were sick, man.
Yep. So that's everything that we've been playing. Let's jump into some new stuff. We finally found out where Amy Hennig ran off to after she left Uncharted.
Oh, and she sat back and she got to pick where she wanted to go to.
Probably. The way the article I read where they interviewed her made it sound like that's exactly what she wanted to do. But she is now at Visceral Games working with EA on some Star Wars project.
Yeah, man. You know, if they can make a Star Wars game that has weight and gravitas, then how awesome would that be, man?
Yeah.
You know, it's always they're always, I don't know, they've always either been extremely kiddie or extremely cartoony, or comic booky, you know. And I wanted Star Wars that's like a Mass Effect. So if they can make that thing happen, Flip. Oh man, I might run through a freaking brick wall, man.
Yeah.
And I trust that lady, man. She's I mean, she also doesn't get praised enough, man. But one of my favorite games on the PS1 was the oh my goodness, brain fart. I don't remember the name of it. It's the vampire game, man. It's freaking, somebody help me on Twitch. Well, anyway.
Vampire game on PS1.
PS1, yeah. She gosh, dog it.
Oh, the game she worked on?
Yeah, she actually wrote that. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, man?
Yeah, I just can't remember the name of it either.
I can't. Anyway. So anyway, man, what do you think, man?
It starts with an R or something, doesn't it?
I think so. I'll grab it in a couple seconds, man. But
Legacy of Kain does not start with an R. That's what it was. I was thinking Rain or something. I don't know.
I think his name started with an R. But yeah, there you go, Cody. Awesome. All right, so yeah, love that game to death. And so yeah, so I trust her, man. I'm looking forward to what she has to do.
Yeah. Still wish that it was 1313 that they were working on. So frustrated that we're not getting that.
Well, Disney put the chops on that, right?
Yeah, that was stupid.
Ooh.
The biggest news of this week, of course, PlayStation Pets coming to Vita June 3rd. Got some Nintendogs action going on. Sony's trying to get into that cash cow.
Yep.
Did you ever play Destiny Spirits? Did you jump into that yet?
Nope, but that's on my list too. Yeah,
Gotta get on that.
I'm gonna hit 4 or 5 games. I mean, Destiny Spirits is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
I gotta get it before PlayStation Pets comes out because my
daughter's
daughter's
gonna steal your Vita.
Crush my Vita, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hear, oh, so cute, 24/7. But so yeah.
Yeah, you got to get on that Destiny Spirits pretty quick. 13 more days to summon the Knack Spirits.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it'll more than likely be tomorrow.
Okay. Even if you just log in just for 5 minutes each day you log in, you get extra perks, and you have to log in for 30 days anyway. So you might as well start getting a jump into that.
The real question is it easier to get Diamond Knack on Destiny of the Spirits?
I don't think.
Opposed to how you get it in the regular Knack game.
I don't think Diamond Knack is in Destiny Spirits.
What?
There's like 30 different character models, and 20 of them are Knack, but I don't think Diamond Knack was one of them. There's the Ice Knack.
What's Ice Knack? I want Diamond Knack.
Yeah.
He's probably just too powerful for Destiny of Spirits.
Did you play Gravity Rush?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember looking at the trophy list on the Vita? How each of the trophies made a... Well, I guess it was just for the DLC. But if you looked at the trophy list on the Vita, they lined up and they made a picture. Like a vertical picture.
No, I never noticed that, man.
Well, they do. Each one of them's like the maid pack, I think. And if you get all the trophies, it makes an image of Cat dressed up like a maid. And then the other one's like a military officer. I don't know. Destiny Spirits does that also. So if you get all the trophies, it makes like a vertical banner all the way down. But you have to look at it on the Vita for the images to line up properly. But I thought that was pretty cool. I haven't seen that since Gravity Rush.
Awesome.
Yep. We also got a couple of release dates: Alien Isolation and Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. Both very, very anticipated games are coming out October 7th.
Man, it's nothing like taking control of orcs and having them actually kill their own people. You know what?
Which one are you gonna play first? Which one are you looking forward to more?
Well, there's only one game that matters to me. If I had to have one game, it would be Destiny. But
well, that's in September. We're talking about this week, October 7th. Which one of these two are you gonna be playing?
It's gotta be
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Especially after the abomination that was Colonial Marines. I'm very hesitant to jump into another Alien game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be Shadow of Mordor.
NIS announces Natural Doctrine. It's a JRPG. I watched the trailer. It was kind of just like a cinematic trailer, I guess. Nothing really exciting happened in there. But that's coming to PS3, Vita, and PS4 this fall. It's another RPG from them.
That's what they do. I love those folks.
Yeah, and then you said there's a game coming out for Vita. Is that what this is?
Yeah, it's Vita only. They're offering a special edition for it. It's called Hataru no Niki. I don't know, but screwing that name up. But yeah, that's something that's coming out this fall as well. So I guess we can expect to have more information about that shortly.
Yeah. Cody was saying he wants to play Colonial Marines just to see how bad it was. Do you remember the trailer? And did you play Colonial Marines at all?
No, but I do remember it.
Okay.
No, actually, no, I did.
You did?
I did. This is the with the guys with the big hulking, looks like shoulder pads, all blue and yeah. I did play that, man.
I remember how much of a letdown that was. We were watching the trailer and it looked amazing.
Well,
and then
it was right on the tail of Gears, and it had that same vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And there were like scenes in the trailer that looked really cool that weren't in the game at all, like completely scrapped. And then the last boss fight was extremely underwhelming. It was just overall terrible. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, Cody, whenever you play Colonial Marines, let me know. We'll have to talk about that a little bit. I still need to go back and finish that up. There's a bunch of it's probably impossible to get multiplayer done in that, but I need to do it eventually.
Oh man, I had the biggest fail in the world. So one of my main goals over the last month, you talked about multiplayer trophies, was jumping back on Resistance 2.
So you gotta let me know
And
when you do things like this because I've been wanting to do that also. Then we could have some
oh,
community game nights. And we could
you could
also
have did
all be
it. You,
done
you could have did
doing
it. I had
Killzone.
I still had to get like 8,000 more kills in multiplayer for the platinum. So I
Hmm.
bought 2 copies of the game, and I intended to set them up on the 2 different PS3s. Have the controller in one of my hands and set the one guy up, and I would just shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. And I figured, 5 hours a day for about 6 days, I get about 1,500 kills a day. And I had it all planned out, man. Did not put the game in the disc. So the multiplayer service apparently went down at the end of March.
Oh,
So that opportunity's gone.
wow.
I
Okay.
can't. I'll never be able to get the plat on Resistance 2. Um, but yeah, but to your point, right? There's probably no one playing Marines right now.
Probably not. PlayStation announced that they have 1,000 developers licensed for self-publishing. So lots and lots and lots of indie games on the way. I think
Okay.
what they say there's like over 100 titles coming out
Yeah,
over the course of this year.
yeah, and they yeah, and I think a lot of, well, obviously a lot of them are indie games, but they're games, and they're games done well. And I love this indie push,
Yeah.
some of them are going to turn out to be fantastic. Some of them are going to find new ways to make money for their family. They're not going to work out. But the fact that you have so much great creative juices just pouring in,
Hmm.
and Sony's opened up this bucket, um, I think is wonderful. And it's so much so that, and it's a good thing. Microsoft is now, opening up their bucket in order for indies to come in and publish. The
Did
only
you hear what they
problem
said though?
yeah, well, you're talking about that one still requirement that they have.
Yeah, I can't believe they even. They're. I don't know why
It's
they're holding on to that. It's so stupid. They
well,
called like the parity clause in their agreement, where if you want an indie game to come to Xbox One, it can't be on any other console at all.
mhm. Yeah, Phil Harrison, I believe, is going to squash that. They have to. When they put that in place, they were in a position of strength. Um, in a position of strength to the tune of about 4-1 in America. So,
Hmm.
if I wanted American sales,
They said he's not
that
budging on it, and that was he said that
oh,
this
they're
week.
well, Phil has to toe the company line, right? But they will budge. They have to budge because that 1,000 developers licensed for self-publishing, um, the what's happening with New and Tasty, what's happening with a lot of other with a lot of developers, indie developers, they're saying, hey, listen, I love Microsoft, but they got to get off of that.
Right.
I'm publishing with Sony because it's ready for Sony now. I'm small. I can't maximize development time for 2 different releases. So I'm going to go with the people that's easier to develop for, that's opened up their platform for me to push right in through, and that's Sony. And so now all of a sudden, Xbox, Microsoft is alienating themselves from tons and tons of indies. They're going
Right.
to back away from it. Fliptriq, they have to.
I agree that they have to. They make it seem like they're not going to. And Microsoft likes to make terrible business decisions. We've seen over the past year, so I don't know if they're going to make that budge.
Well, somebody's headstrong that they're still Microsoft, and they still own America, and if you don't follow them, then you're stupid. So we'll see. I
And
just hope people make. I hope that they just make the right move, reach the right call on this.
do you have any anticipated indie games? Like, what's your most anticipated indie game that's coming out that you know about?
Oh man, yeah. Matter of fact, there's a couple of them. There's, gosh, talking now. I feel like such a noob. There's like 3 fantastic indie games coming out, man. I tell you what, give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'll
Well,
have it up.
mine is Transistor. Um,
Transistor looks really, really, really
I'm
good.
so excited for that game.
The motorcycle, the neon colors, she looks really good. It's your type of game. It's like
Hmm.
almost like this crazy,
When I
almost.
first started doing YouTube, it was right around the time when Supergiant made their first game, which was Bastion.
Mhm.
I loved that game so much. I played that nonstop. I could not set that game down. That game was so good.
Yeah.
And this is like it almost looks like the same art style, same graphic style, same combat design, but it's an RPG now.
Well, it's kind of isn't it? It's a platform. It almost looks like it's side scrolling, but it has that kind of train bastion type of 3D type of element to it.
Right. It looks so
Right.
good.
So yeah,
Super excited about it.
yeah, yeah. That's that game. There's
Did you find what you're looking for yet?
No, man, it's coming. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to it. I'm just gonna interrupt you. You're gonna be making a fantastic point, and I'm gonna bring it up. Um,
Faithy's
third,
asking about The Witness for PS4. Have you heard of
the
this?
yes, the witness
What is
is.
that?
Thank you so much. The witness is a fascinating game. It's a
Is that the
big
game with the
giant,
island?
yeah, big giant puzzle. It's a big
Okay.
giant puzzle.
Yeah, I saw some
It's
trailers on that. I remember
completely dynamic.
when they showed it somewhere last year.
The entire presentation is dynamic. You can go anywhere in the island,
Mm-hmm.
and the concept is that by only triggering certain things, you get access to other areas, but no one area is inaccessible. If that makes sense.
Right.
So that game, absolutely freaking beautiful, and I'm looking forward to that. And there's one more that looks like Ico, and it's incredibly well done. It's almost like it's shell shaded, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. Indie developer, and unless our good friends on chat tells us before I get to it, I'll let you know. It was one of the major games that was praised during last year's E3 release.
Yeah. People in the chat are talking about The Witness, No Man's Sky, Rainbow Sky. Rainbow Moon was really good. I never got around to finishing it. I want to go back to that at some point, but Rainbow Sky looks pretty good too. So looks like everybody has their own little indie game that they're excited about.
You know what? And
Is it
you know what?
Rhyme? Is that what you're talking about? That's what they're saying?
Yes, what it is. Yep.
I haven't
That's
heard of
what it
that.
is. It is absolutely beautiful, man. And but I feel like playing Dark Souls 2 just made me dumb. I just don't remember anything. My mind is
Yeah.
going to be released and free after this. But
I haven't seen this one at all. I'm looking it up right now. It looks good. Yeah, it does look like a cell shaded eco.
yeah, it's pretty darn beautiful. But yeah, it's amazing, man. And here's the thing, big publishers, they will hold their own with their big giant titles, but these little small guys, man, they're going to get in and they're going to grow and they're going to innovate. And I love it. I absolutely love it, man.
Yeah. Very excited about all these indie games. I've always preferred indie games over AAA games. Just it started with the Unfinished Swan and Journey and Bastion. Just that over the course of those 2 years, I played a ton of indie games, and every single one of them was just a completely different experience. They weren't trying to copy anything else. They were just doing their own thing, all these new, fresh ideas. And then ever since then, I've just had this huge interest in anything indie. That's where Guacamelee came into play. That was my favorite game of last year, was an indie game. I like that more than The Last of Us. So
Yep.
I'm glad PlayStation's focusing on all these indie developers and letting them have pretty much ultimate freedom.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing that right now, and hopefully other platformers pick up on that. Well, other publishers and consoles pick up on that and do the same thing. I think they just need all the support and love that they can. You brought up The Last of Us, Flip, and it's been pseudo confirmed, guys, that we're going to get some announcement on the PS4 pretty soon. So I am freaking stoked for this, and apparently, there's going to be another hard mode associated with it. It's going to include the multiple DLCs that are coming out. So this PS4 edition that's going to be released is going to be headbanging. Very excited. That was a question on our chat earlier, and the answer is yes. Yes, we will get more news. It was blown. The cover was blown, but I think we're going to have a blowout in just a couple months from now. So we'll see.
All right. And the last bit of news, there was a PS4 survey that they did, like one of those mass market surveys that they do every once in a while. 90% of the time, stuff that they talk about comes out in the next few months. But they're looking at introducing a reputation system for advanced matchmaking, similar to what Microsoft just did for Xbox One. It's been on the 360 forever. I don't really know how I feel about that, because I feel like they say that people won't be able to troll you, but it still happens. It does.
It happens all the time, and
right.
I'm not a fan of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're going to do that, then they should allow us to manage it. I.e., if there's some type of rating system let me be the one that says I want to filter out whomever. But then again, I guess it goes both ways because I can get thumbs down by 25 different people, and all of a sudden I'm the guy that's getting filtered and can't find a match. Yeah, I'm not a fan, and and I don't know if Microsoft has really implemented that system yet. Do we know? Um,
Yeah, they just I think they said they did it last week. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't
it's in yeah,
pay too
but
much attention to Xbox One, but I think so.
yeah, yeah. I'm not with it either, man. I hope not. I hope not. You know what? And the thing about it is Sony. In all the years of me playing online, the community just wasn't that horrendous. I've never had any issues. I try to coach my son up when he's playing online to not be a butthole. You know, sometimes I'm playing with folks and they're just dropping bombs, and you know what? I don't know, man. I just don't. It's just never really that bad, man. Even when we say, "Hey, man, cool out," I got my daughter in the room. They'll say, "Hey, I'm sorry about that." you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like we get. I say we. I shouldn't say we. It just seems like there never really was a horrible, horrible community out there for online games. But you know what? I don't play Call of Duty,
Yep.
so maybe I'm filtered that way. Maybe I just simply haven't been exposed.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had any problems either. But I'm the same way. I don't really spend much time on Call of Duty. So also with that PS4 survey, they talked about PSN name changes, which people have wanted for 8 years. We might finally be able to do that. And invisible status, so you can hide yourself, make yourself appear offline. So that all might be coming soon.
There was the other thing that they mentioned that it almost appeared that some of that stuff was already implemented with the PS4. One of the other things they talked about was being able to voice chat with
Cross
greater than 8
platforms.
people,
Oh,
right?
and cross platform, yeah.
And cross platform, yeah, cross platform between PS3, Vita, and PS4. So I like to see how they pull that off.
I think it's just going to be PS4 and Vita, because right now there's no cross game chat on the PS3. And they said a couple years ago that that wasn't possible, or they would have implemented it already, because they knew that after the PS3 came out, everybody wanted that. That was the one thing that everybody wanted, and they said they couldn't do it because of the hardware requirements.
Right.
So I don't think it would be PS3 to PS4 game chat. I think it would be Vita to PS4.
Okay.
That's just my guess, though. I don't know.
Now it might just be chat, like you said, though. Maybe it's not game chat, because if, yeah, to your point, if they couldn't implement it beforehand, how in the world can they do that now while you're in game? But yeah. Anyway, good news, man.
Yep. So next week, April 8th, 2014, we've got Lego The Hobbit coming to PS3, PS4, and PS Vita.
Yep. And news on Lego The Hobbit, they said that they're going to implement the third movie as DLC content in that game.
They said they're thinking about it.
They haven't made that official?
What I read said they were contemplating it, and it might be a thing.
Well, I hope they make it a thing. You don't need another Lego game.
They're going to make it into another game. You know they are.
They're going to be touched by the spirit of Lord of the Rings. And just
They did it with the Harry Potter. They made 4 games out of the Harry Potter series.
They sure did.
So I wouldn't doubt them doing another game for The Hobbit for the final episode.
Made 30 games out of Star Wars.
Yeah, they did. Way too many. Also, we have finally Telltale coming out with The Wolf Among Us Episode 3. Finally get to see what's going on in that world. Very curious. Cannot wait. Yeah. It hasn't been too long. It was like, 2 months ago that Episode 2 came out? So it wasn't terribly long. I still have a pretty good idea what was going on. We had the...
I'm feeling your theory right now, man. I'm feeling they're pulled way too thin theory here, because...
Oh, that's right.
I feel like I needed to have that game like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, man. It's
Well, this is usually their.
How can 2 months not be too long?
They usually the way The Walking Dead season 1 did it, which is what I'm basing everything off. It was like a 90-day episode cycle. Okay. So every 90 days is what I'm expecting. So this 2 months isn't too bad, but the gap between episode 1 and episode 2 was like 4 months, and by then I didn't remember anything because they make these episodes one at a time. Like episode 4 hasn't been started until people have played episode 3, and then they talk on the forums, and then I guess they pull a lot of feedback and put that into the next episode. That's why in The Walking Dead season 1, you had episode 2. I think there was some it went first person for a little bit, and you had a few you had a gun and you were shooting zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And then episode 4, there's another gun sequence and it was completely different the way they set it up. That was because everybody hated the way it was set up in episode 2. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know, that's a pretty impressive then if you think about it. On the fly development.
Yeah. And their scripts for that are pretty long from what I've heard. They're pretty intense. But I remember somebody was cursed, or we thought there was a curse on one of the people at the strip club.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't talk about things, and then there was something going on with beauty. And we thought there was we thought we found the killer, but
well, yeah, Nick thinks he has it knocked down. Mike guy, I'm pretty, and you and I are on par with this. Pretty
right.
confident that there's some type of spell on her lips, the lipstick or something that I guess this is not spoiler cast at this point, that prevents them from talking. My lips are sealed. So yeah, I am looking. Now you got me hyped again. I'm looking forward to it. I almost have to replay. I want to replay the previous episode just so I can be really up to speed on what's going on.
Yeah. That's all next week. So looking forward to Lego the Hobbit quite a bit, and The Wolf Among Us I'll be playing as soon as it becomes available.
Yes. My goodness, it's just a few days away. Yep.
Yeah. So that wraps up episode 11. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you would like, feel free to call the Trophy Hotline, 302 TCP Show. We'll take any questions you have, whether it be about trophies or some game you'd like to talk about. That's always open. I live stream on this channel, twitch.tv/Fliptriq. Try to do it every night. Like I said, this past week's been kind of rocky since I've been sick. And you can always follow me at Twitter. It's at Fliptriq. I always tweet before I go live. We do the show live every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah. And I think that's all the plugs that we have. Yeah. Oh, your Twitter is DMC_123. You can follow DMC now.
Yep.
He's finally on there.
Finally. I got a few tweets out there. I'm moderately active.
Mm-hmm.
But when I tweet, I only tweet to the big people. I mean, I expect responses back from major presidences and CEOs of gaming companies. And right now, I'm 1 out of 50. So.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press...
How's it going? Welcome to the Trophy Hotline. Who is this?
This is Bear.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, do you think the virtual reality will do good, or will it just fade out?
Really good question.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a bit last week. I'm not terribly hyped for it. I think it's a cool idea, but I don't know how I feel about it.
Right, so I'm on the other end of that. And I think immersion, what is this gaming thing, right? So this is a little bit of escapism, it's a little bit of fun, right? And it's also immersion when you get into these really, really deep games. When a game company can do immersion well, then they're doing something right? And I think if they can somehow put quality games at the feel of the VR there works where I'm not sick and it's fluent, then you have ultimate immersion. And if that happens, yeah, it's going to take off. It's going to take off. It's going to fly. The major point, and this is what Flip brought up last week, the major hit here is cost.
Right.
Is it accessible? Right? Can all of us as a community of gamers actively get involved very quickly? And a lot of times with these new platforms like 3D, remember Flip 3D about 5 or 6 years ago, how that was a big deal?
And it died off.
It was too expensive for people to jump in.
Uh-huh.
So that's big, but my answer is yes. I do think it'll take off if they can do the immersion piece right. If folks are not getting sick, a la 3DS, 3D.
What about you, Bear? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm all.
What'd you say?
I would ask more, but my throat hurt from the surgery.
No. I'm sorry to hear about your surgery. I'm glad you got out okay, though. Hopefully everything heals up.
Great. Bear, thanks for calling, man.
What was the price point we came up with that we guessed? I remember you said something, and then I compared it to something else. You said no, that
Yeah,
there's,
I said it had to be 150 was the sweet spot for everybody to jump in.
or what was
And
my
I thought it was
counterpoint?
going to be, and you said, and I agree with you after you said it, that it was going to be right around 300. You said the Vita, you said something. The Vita came out, and I don't know. You brought up something.
I don't remember what it is either. I remember it made sense when I said it, but I can't remember what it was. But I compared it to something.
You did, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's right." You know what? You know what popped up in my head? Flip, the Nintendo glove. Of course, it wasn't that, but
Yeah.
but something you said, and it made. Oh, you said, you know what you said? You said the Pulse Elite headphones are 150,
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
and so the VR can't be 150, and then that just blew my bubble, and I just knew that it can't come out as 150. So unless Sony takes a $100 hit on this, and I don't think they're in a position financially to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. We'll see.
Yep. Cody's saying he didn't think the 3D was very appealing at all. I remember only like a handful of games that even supported it. He said
Well,
Uncharted 3 used it the best, but it wasn't too
Well,
impressive.
There was a handful of games. Matter of fact, and at some point, every major game that was released, including Arkham City and the previous art, had a 3D component built into it. You can play 3D. The problem was nobody had 3D televisions, and so Sony said, "Oh my goodness, nobody can pay $4,000 or $5,000 for these TVs to play this 3D implemented. So we're going to build this small 27-inch 3D television so you can buy." And play your 3D games on it. Well, the freaking television costs $300.
Yeah, it was expensive.
Right? And I'm like, yeah, so by the time 3D became affordable, the fad was gone.
Right.
This isn't considered a fad to me. I think what this is going to be is essentially a niche product that's solely purposed for the gaming community and very, very, very specific escapists. And then based on the success of that, it's going to blow up. The best thing going for Sony right now is the fact that Oculus got bought by Facebook, because Facebook can make it popular. And once it's popular,
Yeah.
then you're going to have more. You're going to have GE's going to come out with one. Hewlett Packard's going to come out with one. And then we're going to have virtual reality sets for $75.99.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool, but I think it's unnecessary. Like, I'm not terribly sold on the idea. I don't feel the necessity for it, but I think it'd be cool to mess around with. But wearing a headset constantly for an extensive 6-hour gaming sessions would just get
I'm with you.
really tedious.
I'm with you 100%. Until they actually release the headset with that game we were talking about earlier, from the people that created Bashir, or whatever the game was. It wasn't Train, was it? What was the game that you talked about earlier? The indie game that you were looking forward to?
Transistor?
Transistor, yeah. Now, Transistor on VR headsets at 4 hours a pop. I think you can do that, man.
You'd have to change the game entirely, though.
Why?
How are you gonna do a VR game on a side-scrolling?
You can do it. It's just
Okay.
all it is wall-to-wall vision.
Well, see, what I guess the way I see it is the only games that would really benefit from VR would be first-person games like Thief or BioShock Infinite.
Now, all the games work with it. The question is, can it? Pretty awesome. MC Pants has a picture of glasses that he just tweeted in the chat. I'm sorry, guys, for breaking conversation, but I thought that was impressive. No, it's essentially it's removing your peripheral. So you're right. Ultimately, you want first-person based games, Skyrim, first-person shooters, games like Thief. But it's been displayed in just standard games as well.
See, that doesn't appeal to me at all. That's I care about that even less.
All right.
But I understand what you're saying now. So it's just like a wider screen, basically.
You know what it is? It's like going to IMAX.
Okay.
You ever been to an IMAX movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so sitting back and I could have it, I could not have it. It doesn't really matter to me, but I'm glad I experienced it a couple times. And it's a wow factor. But essentially, you are now playing games on your own virtual mini IMAX.
Okay. Yeah. Still not sold on it.
Ha!
But I think it'd be cool. There'll be a few games that'll come out that I might play, but I think I just prefer the normal setup. It just seems like it's too excessive with the VR thing. So,
No, listen, I'm not substituting, the couch and the and the PS4 controller, next to my coffee cup, for nothing. But I am looking forward to it, because I'm just a geek that way. And who knows, man, I might get pulled in. Gosh, dog it, if there's a Final Fantasy game that's done just right, or a nice Ni no Kuni that's done just right, oh man, yeah, I might have burnt retina by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah. But anything else you wanted to talk about before we take off?
No, man. I'm gonna jump back on 2K. I'm gonna try out Destiny Souls. I'm gonna download that tonight on the Vita.
Cool.
So I can have it ready for me.
I've got a spot open for my friends list waiting for you. So it's really weird. They try to make this huge social push, but they limit your amount of friends that you can have, and you can't send messages to your friends. It's weird how they set that up. But I've got a spot waiting for you. You have to actually go into options and then send a friend request. Is how you do it. You can't. It doesn't really tell you anywhere how to do that. But
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll set it up. I'll download it tonight and I'll play out some space. I'm not playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma. I pretty much suck at that game, so I'm gonna get rid of that and free up about 3 or 4 gigs. So we'll go from there.
All right. Well, enjoy that. Yeah. We'll see you all next week. April 10th, I think, is when the next show will be. 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be talking about our thoughts on The Wolf Among Us. We'll probably do a spoiler cast after the show, after the podcast. And we'll also be talking about Lego The Hobbit. And yeah, should be a good show. So look forward to seeing you all next week. Hopefully you all enjoyed the show. Thank you all for watching. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Y'all have a good night.
All right, guys.